Okay, we'll start with this essay about e-technology and newspapers. This is the era of modern science. Okay, I think you need to be more specific because every era had its own modern science. So I think what you mean is this is the era of digital technology. Okay. Some people think that the rapid use of modern technology, no, actually A would be better here. Some people, you need an article. So some people think that a rapid use of modern technology will, not would, okay, because you're using the present simple here, so you have to carry on, will result in a decline of hard copy such as newspapers and magazines. I don't know why you've put capital letters for newspaper and magazines, and they have to be small letters, okay? And that's important. Punctuation is important because it's very visible and makes a difference. So a decline of hard copy such as newspapers and magazines, comma, while others believe that the existence, now I wouldn't say phenomenon. Phenomenon means something quite more strange, so that's not the correct word here. You could say while others believe they will continue to exist. Full stop. And that's better because you've got repetition here. You've got existence and exist within the same phrase, and that's too repetitive, okay? So while others believe they will continue to exist, that removes that problem of repetition. And you can't say will still be exist anyway. Okay, this essay will examine both views before arguing in favour of e-technology and outline some supportive examples as well. Okay, that's fine. But you say argue in favour of e-technology. The question, if you look at the essay title, it's whether e-technology is going to replace newspapers or not. So it's not really saying that it's better, it's just saying will they replace. So do keep closely to your question. But what you could say is this essay will examine both views before arguing that e-technology will continue to grow in popularity, something like that. At the outset, it is an undeniable fact that nowadays one cannot imagine one cannot imagine a day without the influence of modern science. Again, modern science is not the right term to use. I think you mean modern technology, okay? The invention of many technological tools makes, so you need subject-verb agreement here, makes it possible for people to have access to, you need the word to there, to have access to an enormous amount of information. It's actually with the click of a button, okay? Which means, okay, don't start a new sentence with which, okay? You could say this means, okay? This means internet technology is the perfect substitution. I would say replacement is a better word. It's a perfect replacement for outdated newspapers and magazines. I don't know why you've got capital letters for those words. There's absolutely no need. So small letters again for outdated newspapers and magazines. Delete the word trend because they weren't really a trend. A trend is something quite short-lived. We've had newspapers and magazines for a very, very long time. So just for outdated newspapers and magazines, full stop. In addition, people these days are more environmentally conscious than ever before. Good. Thus, they tend to use internet facilities rather, you need to put in rather than paper-based again, small letter, and not copies, I think you mean paper-based newspapers. Okay. In the UK, you need an article. In the UK, for example, a recent study suggests that the use of technology leads to far less wastage than before. Okay, that's good. It's fine that, but I would have liked a more specific source. You've just said in the UK, that's a whole country. You've not given me a date and you've not given me a source. I mean, is this from a university? Is this from, some scientific organisation? We need a more specific source there. As a result of these benefits, people, okay, you've got switching, so you're using present continuous, so people are switching to e-technology, so you need to put in the verb to be, are switching to e-technology. Okay. Furthermore, although it is convenient to use magazines, again small letter, or newspapers, needs an S, to some extent, it has some major drawbacks. Okay, you've got magazines or newspapers, and those are all countable nouns, so you need an S on them. So they have some, so that's subject-verb agreement, which is important. They have some major drawbacks. Okay, for instance, paper-based information takes, again, you need subject-verb agreement here, takes far more time than technology-based information, thus wasting people's valuable time. Okay. Moreover, while the print, again, I don't understand these capital letters here. So while printing, small case, newspapers, small case, magazines, small case. So while printing newspapers and magazines, you mean printed. Okay, now it makes more sense, but still all small letters. So while printed newspapers and magazines, so printed is ED, printed newspapers and magazines are only limited to providing certain news only. Delete the second only. Try and avoid this repetition. You've got only twice in a short phrase there. So only limited to providing certain news. The use of technology-based internet I don't know why you're saying technology-based internet. I would just say the internet. We know that about technology. It seems like a necessary word there. So the use of the internet makes it possible for one to have access, so to have access to countless sources of information, delete indeed, which enables them. Now, who is them? Okay, you're saying them as if you're referring to people before, but you haven't mentioned people before. Okay, so that's not a clear reference. So you just have to say which enables people to gain further knowledge about the world. Okay. That is why, again, lowercase, be careful of your punctuation. So that is why in the not too distant future, the use of newspapers with an S and magazines, again all small case, newspapers and magazines can barely be seen. Okay, you're talking about the future, so you'd have to say will. So in the not too distant future, the use of newspapers and magazines will become less and less seen. Okay. In conclusion, it is an irrefutable fact that the invention of modern technology makes people's lives, so you need to have the plural, lives, lives easier than before, and it is here to stay. That's quite informal style. Try and keep your style more neutral or more formal in an IELTS essay. So the invention of modern technology makes people's lives easier than before, and is and is here for the long term. Okay. I strongly believe that the use of modern tools to gain access to news and information will far outweigh the use of printing newspapers and yeah, you needed something else here. So I strongly believe that the use of modern tools to gain access to news and information. So you need to say the advantages, because you're using this expression outweigh. So I strongly believe the advantages of using modern tools to gain access to news and information, comma, will far outweigh the use of printed, so you need an adjective, of printed newspapers and magazines. Again, those should all be small letters. And do be careful of that. It does look very odd to suddenly see these capital letters. And that will affect an examiner. They will wonder why you're doing that. Okay. Okay, overall, you've given a clear argument. You have answered the question, so there's good task fulfillment here. The structure is fine. You've given a conclusion with your main body paragraphs and a conclusion. And your argument is consistent, so there is consistency here. So well done.